Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Plitka, and I am a licensed acupuncturist, specializing in Chinese herbal medicine, and I'm also a Pilates instructor, which I've been studying Pilates for about 20 plus years now. And what I'm going to talk to you all about is our feet. And I see this a lot in clinic nowadays where people come in and they have their back that's gone out, or they have issues in their SI joint. And I'm referring to the back SI joint where the sacroiliac joint meets the sacrum, and then it attaches in front of the pubic bone. And a lot of times if there's any type of tension, either being tight upper shoulders and back, that's going to pull your pelvis off, causing that, listening to painful feeling. The one thing I've found over the years in practice, though, is people might often have their arch that drops, or one of the bones in your foot tends to get knocked out of place, therefore causing all your knees, your hips to then start to track improperly. So we are going to do foot exercises now that I'm going to show you to help strengthen your arch, because I always say I want everyone's feet to be as dexterous as their hands. So again, if you can notice, and I do this as a little home test, is I'll just take my fingers and stick my index finger underneath the high point of my arch to see how far it tracks. I always like to be able to see at least to the first knuckle, and if that's going, we're in good shape. I've had knee surgery in the past, and I notice when this ankle gets weak, this arch will drop, and therefore I start to get pain that elicits in the SI joint. So my remedy for that is to keep my feet strong. So the two things that you need is a lacrosse practice ball. These you can get at any sports supply store. They're about $1 a piece. Not a tennis ball. This is a little bit more firm, but still has a little bit of give, a little bit of softness for foot rolling afterwards. And a TheraBand. I use probably the one with the most resistance. This is a gray color. You can go as light or as heavy as you want, but these are the two things. So we're going to go ahead and start today, and you can do this before or after exercising. I tell all my patients who are going on any long treks or trips to bring these two in your suitcase or your backpack and roll out and strengthen your feet, your ankles. So what we're basically doing is helping to strengthen the muscles of the feet and then also working out the ankles. So you start by wrapping the TheraBand at the ball of the foot, but make sure that there's an extra inch or so covering your toe. And the first thing I like to do is to sit up straight, thinking about our posture, pulling the rib cage out of the hips, navel in, and then just to go ahead and feel the heel stretching past the ball of the foot. And I always like to tell people that I want you to feel your whole entire leg. So it's not just from the ankle downward. I want you to feel the lengthening of your kneecap. I want you to start to feel the engagement of your inner thighs. I want you to feel the relationship of your hip flexors to your abdomen. So nice tall posture, shoulders down, elbows engaged, and we're going to do this 10 times. So each exercise is going to be repeated 10 times. And start by just stretching into the ball of your foot, and then going into a full point, and then you go back to ball of your foot or elevate, and then heel. Again, ball of foot to full point, ball of foot, and heel. And this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take your time with it. Articulate each movement. Last one, 10. Good. Now what we're going to do is to go into a little bit more of an isolation of the toes. So just to show you without the TheraBand, I want you to keep this ankle open. So this is what I would call open. That would be a closed ankle. So keeping the joint open, and what we're going to do is just basically only articulate at the toes. So going and putting the TheraBand back. Again, posture up, rib cage in, shoulders down, head reaching towards the sky, chin in, and then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and one. Again, making sure you feel that energy, feeling the muscles activate from the knee all the way up as well. Cool. Okay, so we're done with that. Now we're going to go ahead and stretch out the plantar, or the bottom aspect of our foot, and just taking the toes and getting those to bend as what we'd like is a 45 degree. Again, just getting the toes to move. This is great if you have plantar fasciitis. And this big toe is hugely important as far as balance goes and speed and dexterity. So making sure toes have their movement. Now we're going to do this from a bent leg position. And the further away your heel is from your torso or your glutes, the more challenging it's going to be. So again, taking that, choking up on the TheraBand, giving a little bit of tension. Flex the foot. We're going to do imprinting now, placing the ball of the foot down to the floor just for a second, and then up. So it's an inhale and exhale. Keep breathing. 3, 4, 5, toes to the nose. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now we're going to reverse this. So this is stretching out the plantar aspect. Now we're going to go into what I call foot jumping, or bird feet in Pilates land. So bird feet is basically we're just really bringing the toes around like as if we had like a little twig underneath our toes, and we're going to keep that there for the duration. So again, really trying to touch the toes. I always tell my class it's like a little hen pecking corn on the floor. So here we go for 10 of these. Again, belly in, nice tall spine, elbows down, upper body's doing something. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, remember don't rush through it, and 1. Good. Now what we're going to do is an elliptical movement to work on more of our ankle stability. So we're going to go down from a point and then flex it up, working through the resistance of the band. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to reverse where we reach the foot out. So this is the point of fulcrum. So this is the grounding point. When I'm doing these exercises, I'm also really trying to think about reaching my foot out as far as I can, and then I would say this is like raking sand, where the toes go out and then they pulls it back in. So again, this very elliptical movement. It's not just place it down and then crank it up. Reach out, long toes, and then back. Long bones here. 5, 6, 7, 8, reach out, 9, and 10. Sometimes it's not as cooperative as you'd hope. So now we're going to work the inside and the outside of the ankle. So this one's a little bit more complicated on the setup, but with a little bit of practice, it's a no-brainer. So what I'm doing is I'm moving my foot medially in towards the center point of my body, and then what I'm going to do is create, again, a fulcrum. So I'm going to take this, give a little bit of tension, about 10%, and then take my non-moving foot and staple the TheraBand down to the ground. So this is what's going to allow me to have resistance. And so now I'm going to move my foot across my body. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Think about your posture and keep breathing. 8, 9, and 10. Good. Now we're going to switch it over and do the other side. So first let your foot just kind of hang normal. And then again, about 10% tension. Reach over, cross it down, staple that TheraBand down, sitting up nice and tall, and then pulling across from outside to inside. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to the other side, and I think for intended purposes, I'm going to do these without the TheraBand so you can see the articulation of what my foot's doing. So the first one that we do is we start with the heel forward, feeling that stretch, making sure all my muscles are turned on in my leg. Nice tall posture. Now I'm going to go into a eleve, where that would be releve. So eleve is just on the balls of my feet, and then into releve, and then heel. So heel to toe, ball, foot to heel. Heel, ball, toe, ball, and heel. Ball, foot to toe, ball, foot to heel, ball of foot, toe, ball of foot, feel. So again, I'm watching how my foot tracks, so it's not going inverting or everting, which would just means if it starts to wobble. If you have overdevelopment of a muscle group or weakness on one side, your foot's going to what we call sickle, which that's what a sickling foot looks like. So again, I'm trying to make sure it tracks. Like if I was putting it through a slot, it wouldn't move. Okay, second part is keeping that, again, ankle open, making sure my knee is nice and long, and now just toes only. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now we'll come up, and again, this is with the TheraBand, just imagine, but I just want you to see what my foot is doing in this. Bending at the knee, we're going to go ahead and take it through and do the stretch for the plantar aspect of our foot. And just really stretch through that, making sure all 5 toes get to be incorporated. And now, I always call this one the pedal to the metal. So we're going to press down and imprint. So I want the whole pad of the foot there. So 10, 9, 8, 7, it feels weird without the TheraBand. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And so if you have had an ankle injury, it's fine to do it without the TheraBand. You're still getting the mobility and you're still getting the muscle work that you could get. This is just a little bit more information for your body. Now going into bird feet or chicken pecking. 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep it tight. 5. We're working the arch of our foot. 3, 2, and 1. Now elliptical. Point and stretch it out. Point and stretch. Point and stretch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Reverse, reach it out, and then pull it back in. Again, I want your feet to be as dexterous as your hands here. We were laughing in class. You don't need to be able to eat with your feet, but if you did want to, all power to you. 2, 1. Good. And then the eversion, inversion, we would have the TheraBand, step it over, and the same thing is pulling my foot across my body. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then inside, outside. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Sometimes they have a mind of their own. 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay, so all that's done. Congratulations. Now what we always do with class is we do a little bit of foot massage to warm all the tissues. This is just interlacing my fingers between my toes. Stay with it. It takes a little bit of time, but I want to have that toe spread. This will help to prevent any of like the bunions that start to form when that big toe starts to pull inward. You want to make sure that you keep the space in between all your metatarsals here. So what I'm going to do now is just 3. I'm going to squeeze my hands and my feet together and then release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. And then we'll take it and just do a couple little ankle circles. Just to make sure everything's loose and supple. And then, I'll kind of demonstrate. I call this toe wiggling. So I take a finger on each of my toes and then I just go between them and wiggle. Go between them and wiggle. Between and wiggle, between and wiggle. And then just coming through with my thumbs, just thumb circles. And then just get that ankle to loosen up a little bit. And then coming up, I usually stick to the outside. That tends to be the tibialis anterior. A lot of tension happens there. I used to always get shin splints playing soccer, so. Then I think all of our favorites is getting this great thigh meat here and just massaging and getting it to move. I always was taught from my teachers is connection with our own bodies is so important. So I always encourage touching. I can tell my thigh to contract, but sometimes I need to just kind of slap it around to wake it up. Again, the body likes to conserve energy. And so then we would just go back and do the same thing on the other foot. Again, minding posture, hands between the toes. 3, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Ankle circles. And then in between the toes. And notice the difference of what it felt like from your massage leg to your non-massage leg. And it's amazing how much more alive the tissue feels. But you have to understand, like, the feet are the last thing that the body really cares about. But it's where all of our body stands upon on a daily basis. I mean, 70% of our time is spent standing. So, give those feet some attention, keep them strong and dexterous, and there you go. So